Welcome to This Commerce Life. We are an unscripted podcast dedicated to small businesses and entrepreneurs in the retail and consumer packaged goods space in Canada and the United States.
I am Phil Chang, co-host and co-founder.
And I'm Kenny Vanucci, co-host and co-founder of This Commerce Life.
Our love is the journey to retail, and our passion is sharing that with you every week.
Yeah. Have you guys?
Hello.
You were off, I think. Phil, did you take any time off, Kenny?
I was in Europe for 3 weeks.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. We were actually overlapped, I think, for 7 or so days. He was in Portugal. Yeah. We were in Austria, Czech Republic, and Germany.
Fantastic.
He practically speaks German.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Beer.
All of the German
right.
beer.
The beer. Right.
Beer.
All the German beer.
Beer.
Yeah.
Yeah. We did the beer garden experience, which we didn't believe. You know, they always say it because Germans are really not the most effervescent of people.
Mm-hmm.
Not quite like Italians, where we're probably a little too effervescent, but they're just themselves. But they always said, listen, you know, if you do a beer garden, especially in Munich, you know, people will talk. And we're thinking, okay, fuck, whatever. So we did a beer garden. 3 Spaniards at the table. They were going to the Euro finals. We chat with them for about an hour, went to another beer garden, sat down with these 5 Germans guys. And we said, can we sit here? They said, yeah, at the end of the table, because we have another person coming. No problem. We sat there 4.5 hours talking and drinking beer with these guys. It was fucking awesome. It was the best. Honestly, I didn't tell you anything else about Germany, that's my first story with everybody. It was so awesome. So awesome. Got pictures with them. We exchanged emails. Like, just, you know, I mean, seriously, in a beer garden, then they're effervescent.
They're different people once they've had some beer, for sure. It's kind of like coffee in the morning. You know,
it's a cultural thing, right? So if you're part of it, I think it's like, because it'd be like, I guess if you go, like when we went to England to see, we had a day with my goddaughter, and she took us out. And it's the pub thing. And then went with another friend on another trip, and it's the pub thing. And the pub thing is a pub thing. It's a thing. Mm-hmm. Like, we're in Canada, we don't do that, right? I mean, we go to pubs periodically, but it's not like you finish work, you go to the pub. You finish dinner, you go to the pub. It's a weekend, you go to the pub. Everything's a pub. And you're thinking, oh, bullshit. That is no way this is true. It's true.
Totally true, yeah. I spent some time in Ireland, and it was the same thing.
Same thing, apparently, right?
Going to a pub in the morning, but then not, you know, going there for tea, right?
Yeah. All right. You're thinking, you guys are full of shit. No, that's what they do. And you're thinking, and the social thing that they say is, you know, happens. And you're thinking, well, I know, but you guys don't really talk to each other or people otherwise. No, you get into that setting, and culturally, I guess that is just where they do it. And they're so welcoming. And it was so to a level of awesome. Like, they exchanged emails. We took pictures. You know, the wives came by and thought, all right, we'll be back in a little while. They came back. We're in the same spot, and they're thinking, you know, guys, we gotta make a move here. Yeah. It's enough with these guys. I mean, we're all good bros. We get it. But you guys got to move on. It was fantastic.
Well, interestingly, in Halifax, there's a coffee shop / pub, I think, or some kind of drinking establishment. And they've established themselves as a place for people, for the community to go. Like, there's no parking available or anything like that. So it basically ensures that it's people from the neighborhood that are going to go there. And it's doing really well.
Phil, write that
so
one
either
down.
You're pushing a baby stroller, or you're going to shoot some pool, whatever it might be. This is the place to go. So very cool.
I love those places. So we've already done a bunch of podcasts.
Oh my gosh.
With
your peeps. Guys are so amazing.
Oh my God. So now we've got this trip built into Charlottetown that is becoming a little out of control. So now we're thinking, okay, do we front load or back load? Because once we run away from Tammy and Dwayne at lightning speed, we got to get to Halifax and area, because we got to meet all these people.
We've got Eats Boutique, and then we met Earthly last week, and they eat just amazing. And then
The
we
winery
met,
today.
Jean Benoit from
Oh yeah,
yeah.
We're
And he
so
was
going to the
Benjamin
winery.
Bridge.
so great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing that 100%.
So we're gonna go do those for sure.
And a coffee bar now, apparently.
And now
Apparently, well, it's right on the way.
Oh, whatever. What we need along the
It
way
really
now is we need
matters.
from Charlottetown to Halifax. If we drive it, just along the ways.
Yeah.
I might leave the conference and just go with you guys.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. No, you're welcome. You are welcome.
Let's go.
Yeah.
It's so
we
much
won't
fun.
air the
It's so
footage until much
hospitable.
later, so none of us get in trouble for it.
Right?
And
So-
it was a hoot. The people so far have been all just the podcasts have been
Really great.
really, really good.
Oh,
They've been
good.
wonderful. Like there's, we talked to Tarek last week from Peace by Chocolate,
Oh yeah.
Oh my
which
God.
was a lead through BC Food and Bev at one time for them. But you're obviously your neck of the woods. Another one, it was just fabulous story. And I'm so excited now to come. I've never been really, I've been in Charlottetown once for 2 or 3 days for the Scotties Tournament of Hearts. When I was a barman in clubs, I used to go with Scott Paper, and I'd bring my dad. My dad's a curling fan, so that was the deal. So listen, if I don't go watch curling, which I quite enjoy anyway, but if I can't bring my dad, I'm not going. So it became a deal that my dad and I went, and we actually got stuck in Charlottetown because it snowed, I think, on the Sunday of the final, and no flights. That was
It's a tiny airport to begin with. Right?
Yeah, we were there for an extra night, which was awesome.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, lovely town, nice people. Oh, just fantastic.
Yeah. Well, we can't wait to have you.
We're excited.
Well, whether you can or can't, too bad you're getting us.
Too bad now. You're stuck with us.
Too late. Done deal. Whatever.
Oh man.
Feel bad for the Maritimes.
It's not like Tammy to be late, so I don't know. I just sent her a note to see what.
I don't know if not, we can
where she
start
is.
up.
No worries.
Because I told Phil is unfortunately I've got to try to hard stop this at 5:02 or so because I got to get to Coquitlam for a business lunch, and I just know that the day I decide to really cut it tight, there'll be an accident or something on the freaking highway, and it'll be a nightmare.
Is it a bridge? Is there a bridge, Kenny?
No, there's no bridge, but it's close to Coquitlam Center, which just means 25,000 lights.
I was just asking to be polite. Yeah. I don't actually. I think I'm one of the few people there's no bridges, right? So in Ontario, it's not a bridge. It's just genuine congested traffic.
This will be like if they said, can you get on the 401 and get anywhere fast?
Yeah, no, absolutely not. Yeah.
Yeah.
You could walk along the 401.
No, when I lived in Toronto, I took subways. I lived in Bloor West Village, and I worked at Yonge and Bloor.
Yeah.
But I remember that first day of snow. All my colleagues are like, I'm not even
not going to bother.
Try to go in the office.
Yeah.
And of course, this predates all the Zoom and all that sort of thing. So there was no remote working back then. Yeah, that's even the best of days now. It's insane. I've heard just these horrendous stories about downtown and trying to get to the airport and stuff. And thank God they've got the train now that goes right there. But
all of it's kind of awful. Kind of awful. So Tammy can join us when she joins us.
Yeah, we can start up. Let's go.
For the audience, we've got Dwayne Boudreau here. We met Dwayne a little while ago, and we've been doing some stuff. You guys are starting to hear, some East Coasters, and their wonderful brands on here, and you got a preview with what we were talking about with Earthly and Benjamin Bridge coming shortly. But Dwayne's with I always get it wrong. Is it Atlantic Food and Bev or Food and Bev Atlantic?
Food and Beverage Atlantic. Yeah,
FBA. I got it. Yeah. So we were excited to get Dwayne on, and I think Tammy's inbound. We'll see where she shows up, but if not, she'll get her own podcast, and we can do that too. That'll work. So what we like to do, we'd love to get a sense of who you are, and then we can talk about FBA for sure. But the next kind of 40 minutes ish is yours, sir, and we'd love to hear about you, and then how you got to how you escaped from Bloor West Village, and got out to the Maritimes, because that I feel like we're in the midst of pylon season here. So there might be, like, every person in Toronto who's listening to this might be like, however he did it, we've got to figure out how to do it too. So
absolutely, and they're welcome to. Anyone, reach out. Love to have you here. Like a lot of Maritimers, found my way to Toronto through my career. So I've been in the food business most of my career, and I like to poke fun a little bit. Even when I was a youngster, I always saw myself as working for one of those big brands. I was that classic kid that forced my grandfather to drive miles and miles to get Heinz ketchup because the store brand wasn't good enough. And then just coincidentally, I ended up going and working for Heinz and spent a bunch of years there, and was quite lucky. They actually are who took me to Toronto. And although I was a brand manager, I wasn't the typical one that stuck in a cubicle plugging numbers the whole day long, as I'm sure you can attest to as well, Phil. I think you did some of that as well. I spent a lot of time in the factories. I spent a lot of time traveling to find new products to come to Canada. I was involved with a lot of private label, control label, restaurant chain, product development. So had a lot of fun and was too young to really realize the kind of experience that I was actually getting. And then made my way home. We wanted to start a family and wanted to do it closer to folks that we loved, and hence kind of saw my progression to eventually make my way to Food and Beverage Atlantic. So anything related to brand, whether it's retail, food service, etc., I've probably had a little finger into it. I used to be the brand manager for Greco Pizza, which is the pizza of Atlantic Canada. So I've done a lot of things, had a lot of fun. I like to think I gained a little bit of experience, and I wanted to give back. So was really drawn to the vision around Food and Beverage Atlantic, which is truly to create community across the processors and manufacturers across all four Atlantic provinces. So for me, I've been doing this for a couple of years now, in addition to a few other things, but really, really enjoy working with the individual owners, some of those folks that you're having on the podcast. And it's really just about making connections, right? Like I know it's kind of a cliche, but I literally ask folks, like, what keeps you up at night? Because I want to learn how I can best help you get from where you are today to where you want to be tomorrow.
Very cool. Yeah. That's a lot of stuff I didn't know about you.
Yeah.
We've talked like a half
Surprise.
dozen. Yeah.
And there's a lot more.
Nice to meet you, Dwayne.
We won't get into publicly.
That's hilarious.
Oh, that's awesome.
Okay, yeah. I think you told me that once, but I had forgotten you work for Heinz. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
And so how long were you in Toronto then for? Give or take?
Well, it actually wasn't that long. I guess it was about 4 or 5 years that I was there. But long enough, right? This is pre-kids, and we just had an incredible time doing everything that people do in Toronto, knowing that we probably weren't going to be staying long term. So we really, really enjoyed ourselves. And back then, the large national brand food business was still fun. Yeah. I don't know how much fun it is today for a lot of those folks, but back then we had some good times.
Yeah, I feel like we were, all three of us were in CPG when it was very fun.
Oh, it was
now it seems like it really isn't that fun. Definitely not as
changed, right? It's changed.
So, yeah.
Well, it's interesting. I spend a lot of time talking with these food manufacturers who, in a lot of cases, are finding their way to determine if this business for them is a hobby, a side gig, or if it's something they really want to grow to something sizable. And of course, we don't have a big population in Atlantic Canada, as you know, so if you're going to turn your business into something sustainable, unless it's something people are consuming every day, you're probably going to need to sell it outside of Atlantic Canada, which present lots of challenges from a distribution and logistic perspective, but even understanding how national retail works. We start with lovely support with local programs, as I know folks have probably explained to you. But the goal of the banners is to get you into the national program. And of course, the investment changes quite significantly, and the business is very, very different when you're working at a national level. So we like to try to bridge those gaps. So either you're trying to grow your business locally, regionally, nationally, or internationally. Like we have programs, we have different tools to help you grow that. So yeah, it's always a lot of fun when you get to see a company move to that next level and feel like you were able to play a small part in that.
So if I'm as either a processor or a brand who's using a processor in Atlantic Canada, so like I guess, how do I come to you? Why would I come to you?
Mm-hmm.
Like what? So because you talk high level, but like what do I get by signing up and saying, listen, you know what?
Sure.
I want to be a part of this. Like, what does that actually mean?
Well, other than hearing my boring old Heinz stories, it really is about that connection, Kenny. So we will spend the time that it takes to get to know your business, understand what sort of obstacles and roadblocks might be in your way. Like for some folks, they're trying to figure out how to get from the farmer's market into a retail setting.
It's always a fun one.
And learning what is involved from either it's a food safety perspective or packaging requirements, or even just understanding that the retailer as your customer is very different than the consumer as your customer, and how you approach all of them. So lots of coaching and support through that. But even if you're looking to grow your business internationally, we, for example, are typically the proponent for an Atlantic Canadian pavilion at Seattle. So, we'll bring a dozen to 20 different companies, do everything for them so that all they have to do is show up and do their thing. But it's also a matter of preparing them for it and giving them the tools to be able to do that. So we tap into a number of consultants who will help support that. For example, Peter Chapman, who runs Skew Foods, is often our go-to fellow to help get our companies ready for an environment like Seattle or that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. And we're talking like Seattle, Paris, like not Montreal, like we're talking Europe. So they're
both. So so Seattle in Montreal and Toronto are the ones we again it's that for a lot of our members is sort of that first interaction with an international theme. We get tremendous support from the provinces as well as ACOA. And in fact, they're organizing a trip to Paris and tying it in with some time in the Netherlands. Again, for the companies that are in the position to be exploring that.
Right.
It's a big deal, right? You go from farmers market to Seattle, and it's that's
a monumental one. Even farmers market, just as Sobeys or Pete's Boutique, is big enough for a lot of these people.
Yeah, right? But like the conversations are entirely different. Like if you're not ready, it's funny because we did some stuff with somebody else on this, and we had brands that messaged us back afterwards and said, I thought I was ready, and then now I feel like I'm going. But
that was just for the local trade show. That was just
that wasn't even
just trade show prep. So that you went into a trade show, because I don't think people appreciate that.
Yeah.
To what you're saying is that when you're doing a farmer's market or that type of thing and you're direct contact with a consumer, that's a very, very different world than talking to Dwayne, the buyer at Sobeys Local. And, you talk to Dwayne 2 or 3 times, he gets you a listing, and that's the last you're seeing of Dwayne. Now you got to figure out, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
Right.
Can you do this? Can you price properly? Can you make it go with this? Because again, to your point, there's a whole bunch of costs buried into the retail model that I don't know if people really appreciate until you're in this mess.
No.
Well,
what
is a listing fee?
Totally,
they don't pay me in 90 days. What the hell does that mean?
Exactly. And then when they find out that, all those banners have businesses to run and shareholders to appease, it's not all about them. It's about the shareholders who want a return on their investment. It's fun. I'm sure you see the same thing right across the country, but I find that a lot of our entrepreneurs almost fall into this business by accident in a lot of cases. What I see a lot is that somebody's got this great recipe, their family, or however they've come across it, and then they get encouraged by their friends and family. So, you should sell it at the farmers market. So then they're like, well, maybe I'll try that. And then they go out to the farmers market, and they get a very similar reaction from people telling them how great their product is, and you should get that on a grocery store shelf. So off they go, and then suddenly their personality and everything that represents their brand is no longer there, and the package has to compete with the 15,000 SKUs across the whole store, and it's like, that's a whole new world for those folks. And they never had any intention except to maybe share that special jar of pickles that they make, and now all of a sudden they're competing in a world that they never saw themselves in. But a lot of it is really just coaching and helping them along the way to make sure that they're doing the things that they set out to do. I've had scenarios where somebody may have spent 20, 30 grand to realize that, what, maybe this isn't what I want to do, but I also like to think that I probably saved them 150 grand.
Yeah. The house.
Right.
House, actually.
Shortening that time frame for them. But then you get folks that, they just blossom, right? You see some people who are just naturally good at this. And I think it comes from the authenticity of who they are. And that's what they concentrate on, right? Their values. Like, folks don't concentrate enough on telling their story. That's what consumers want to know. Why did you get in this business? What motivates you to get up every day and do this? I like to encourage our members to tell those stories. So I'm a marketer at heart, right? So I tend to sort of gravitate towards that. But, we do a lot of food safety training, education. So if you're looking to find, ingredient, packaging suppliers, consultants, funding, you name it, we may not always know the answer, but there's a good chance that we know somebody who will. And we introduced, actually in collaboration with across the country, a digital platform called Mixer a couple of years ago, and this is becoming our platform, which is kind of the Google of food and bev, right? So if you're looking for something, that's the place to go to find it. So our members gain full access to that. And not only is it a good resource for them, but it's a way for them to promote themselves too.
What is that exactly, Dwayne? Is that something you do in collab with the other food and beverage entities across the country?
Yeah, so we work with most of the other associations on that, and Food and Beverage Canada. So it was an initiative that started up a couple years ago, and based on funding, we keep growing it. And it's like any other digital platform, right? If you need to keep investing in it in order to keep it relevant. So it takes a lot of work, but we like to see ourselves as being some of the leaders behind that, and our members are seeing some great benefits from it.
Oh, that's cool.
That's very cool. I didn't know about that. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. And then, little things like, we've got you guys coming in to do a webinar for us to educate and inform and teach folks about, growing your business through brokers and distributors. So we're super excited to have you on board for that.
Oh, we love doing that stuff, though.
Yeah, we really do.
I mean, we just love doing that stuff, right?
I think we share. I think we share similar, kind of passions here, right? Is we see these little brands, and anything that we can show you that saves you some cash. It could be as dramatic as saving your house, right? But it doesn't need to be. It's also, those sort of things that just allow them to shortcut, because you got to learn when you start this thing, you got to learn so many things, right? And sometimes they chew up days at a time where you're going, I don't know if I'm going to make any progress. Like, how do I even know if this is right, the good information? And then you start to connect with experts, and all of a sudden, everything gets a little bit clearer, right? So I think that's our goals, like yours, right? That's what we want. Is we want.
We're city resources, right? That's sort of what the whole purpose is. I mean, you can do things on your own. You can learn by trial and error. You fall down, you get hurt, you put a bandage on. You can do that all day. Yeah. But I mean, if you can save a few trips to the doctor, or the hospital, why not, right? I've fallen enough times. I can tell you times where I can tell you before you fall, just so you know,
every time
you're gonna fall, because I can see the rock that you're gonna walk into in a minute, right? So I was gonna ask you that. So, like, in terms of, just because we do have, and it may give people even that much more incentive to sign up with your organization if they're listening in other provinces. All the provinces have these organizations, and they're all phenomenal for the same reason. But, like, is there, because Phil and I probably do, but is there a top one or two consistent thing that it's almost like the first thing you ask, because they're probably not ready because of something? Do you find that it's a consistent thing, whether it's packaging, labeling? I don't want to lead you to an answer, but, like, is there something that's typical that maybe if people are listening or can figure out before they get to you and say, okay,
The most common thing, probably, because a lot of our members, and I'll say about 80% of them are small business, right? Less than 10 people working for them. And, when you cross provincial boundaries, the world of food safety changes dramatically if you want to be at retail. So often a lot of those first conversations are around food safety. What does HACCP mean? What do I need to do? And, if you ask 10 different people for advice on that, you're probably going to get 10 different answers. So I always encourage them, talk to a number of folks, compare and contrast, right? Everyone's it's not although it is scientific, it isn't. There's art associated with it too. So depending on who you're talking to on any given day, you may get, a different direction. So key is to talk to a number of experts and, find the common threads to help guide you. There's a lot of information out there. So, it's probably a little like those folks that go to the doctor and say, here's all the things I read on the internet, which, physicians love it when you do that.
Oh, absolutely. They love you being a doctor for them.
Right. So there's a little bit of that goes on as well. Right. So, for example, we host a number of different pitch programs. So whether it's larger retailers like Sobeys, or smaller ones, we have some independents, for example, Pete's Boutique, for Life. We help them. So it's not just here's the education, go off and do it. I actually sit with them through the pitch, so that I'm also there to, cheer them on and help advocate for them. But then afterwards, I'm also providing them with the feedback. Here's what they said, but here's what they meant when they said that.
Right.
And ensuring the follow-up is there. I mean, these retailers they're incredibly busy, so they're not all going to get back to you in a couple of days after that email. So, what's okay for them to do? How aggressive should they be or not in some cases? So, I hand holding's not the right term, but you know what I mean? Like
I find it's coaching. It's being sort of parenting.
Yeah.
You don't have to be on top. Yeah. You're not doing it for them, but you're sort of there to nudge them along. And again, nudge them maybe in the right spot, or you grab by the collar and pull back. Right, car coming. Don't move yet.
I think it's interpretation, because I think so. One of the founders I work with now, she's not from consumer goods at all, right? And then there are lots of moments where they go, "What just happened? I thought in the last email we talked about," and I said, "Yeah, but these are retailers." And she's like, "I don't understand. Like, so a normal email interaction looks like this." And I said, "It is, but it's not, right? If you think of this person, they had one conversation with you. You went back and stewed on that conversation. We took it apart 8 times, 9 times. We figured out all the things. That person went back and had 9 other conversations with 9 other vendors.
Right.
And by the time they got back to their desk, if it's Sobeys, I've got 300 stores asking me some things, right? I got the distribution center. I got my own guys. Like, I don't remember what happened yesterday, right? Like, so they're not being mean. They just have, it's
other stuff going on.
So I feel like,
lots of stuff going on.
You're like an interpreter almost, right? And then they do, because non-CPG people will look at you and go, are you guys all crazy? Like, why is this acceptable? You go, yeah, actually, we're kind of all crazy. But yes, this is acceptable for the industry. It's how we.
You don't have to be crazy, but it sure helps.
I find it's time frame, though. I think people think, well, I talked to Dwayne, and Dwayne said that, he's interested, and, send the paperwork. You think that's great. That didn't mean anything, but that's good. It's a start. And then they wait, and you're thinking, listen, it can take anywhere from 2 hours to 2 years.
Yeah.
Who the hell knows? I don't know where their planogram is, or if they have planogram schedules. To what Phil said is, that's great. Your conversation, that one for half an hour, was fantastic. And so were the other 12 they had that day, and the other 60 they had on the week, and the 400 on the month.
Well, then there's the classic folks who, think, oh, I got the listing. I'm done.
Yeah.
And you
just started.
Barely.
Right?
Yeah. The shit's coming.
So like we put on a digital marketing masterclass back earlier this year. So we try to incorporate learning opportunities that not only give you the information you need, but also you're doing the work through the class, right? Okay. So because entrepreneurs, they don't have time to set aside another half day. Like the fact that you got them in front of you for a few hours, that's the best you're going to do. Yeah. So get them to do the work while you have them in front of you. So we found that works really, really well. And honestly, we've got an incredible team, right? Like we've got our board of directors who are all very, very involved with the day-to-day. So incredibly supportive. I mean, everybody's doing things for the right reasons, where, I'm sure you all have experienced associations that, they might put on some, different events and do different things, but at the end of the day, it's, in some cases a bit self-serving. We talk the talk, right? We walk the walk. Like we're really engaged with the membership to make sure that they're getting their full value. Because it's about growing the business. And even the team with myself, we come from different backgrounds. So I'm based in Nova Scotia. Tammy Boudreau, our executive director, is in New Brunswick. And then we have Nancy Brace, who's in Newfoundland. We all come from different backgrounds, so we bring different tidbits of expertise. And actually, we're hiring a couple more people. We've been growing so much that we need stronger admin support and project management and partnership support. So we'll have a couple new people in place here pretty soon for that too. So
amazing.
Yeah, great people.
I think it's just important. I think one of the things Phil and I talk about, because there's you and probably two other organizations that we really work a lot with, because they work a lot with their memberships.
Yeah.
And to me, you can be an organization and have members, but that doesn't mean you're doing anything with them. The purpose of this is that we all come from different backgrounds, have different education, and have learned a lot of things, and have scraped our knees and banged our noses enough time that I think this is what the entrepreneurs need to understand. And I'm sure you can probably give examples that you use these organizations like yours because that's your contact, that's your resources. You have access to 50 brains now, and for the most part, probably relatively readily accessible.
Yeah. Well, it's such a lonely business for these entrepreneurs, right? I mean, they're slogging it out day by day, and sometimes you feel like you're alone on an island. In some cases, literally.
Yeah.
Right. So we want them to know that we're always there, and our third annual conference and awards is coming up real soon. We like to rotate it around, so. This October 22nd and 23rd. This year it's in Charlottetown, PEI, which we're happy that you'll be joining us there too. So it's fantastic.
We're excited.
You may not leave. You may end up becoming honorary Atlantic Canadians, and our real estate's sort of going up, but really I think nowhere near Toronto.
Can't be as bad as Vancouver
standards, right?
Listen, PEI only has 100,000 people or so,
right.
I'm sure it'll be fine.
Do they want the two of us though?
No, probably not.
It may change forever. We'll see.
We'll find out.
Yeah,
we'll see. So this year's theme is scaling smart, and we've purposely chosen the word smart beside scaling because scaling doesn't always mean getting bigger. It's about growing your business in a responsible way, and sometimes that means taking a couple steps back to get it right. So we've got we're finalizing, but we got an incredible lineup of different speakers, workshops, lots of networking opportunities. For us, it's so important that people talk to one another because they all have a number of things in common, and often, a couple of a little bit of chit chat, and all of a sudden they're working together. And of course, that culminates with our awards. So we've got some great awards to hand out, including our Foodie's Choice, which is kind of a Dragon's Den style, where we get a few companies pitching their product in front of some judges. To win that award. So it's our third year doing it. Every year it keeps getting bigger and better. So we're extremely excited to be hosting it and invite really anyone from the industry. Like it's not just for Atlantic Canadians, right? So anybody who's listening and wants to join, just jump on our website, atlanticfood.ca, and there'll be lots of information there about registering and participating.
Yeah, we'll throw the links down below as well.
Absolutely. No, and then we also want to encourage people that are going, if they haven't met us or we haven't talked to them, come find us. Love to talk. Love to hear stories, love to share stories. Like, we're super stoked. I mean, as you could before we started the podcast, well, I mean, we might have you on a road trip now. I don't know if that's wise for you, but whatever. That's your problem. But we're definitely extending the trip because we have to go see now, a few people in Halifax. We're going to go up to sort of the Bay of Fundy. We're going to do a bunch of things. I don't know how we're going to do all this, but we're going to do it.
No, we'll figure it out. It's good. It's not that crazy. It's not yet that crazy.
Yeah, but you have a tendency to take something.
We've already done it, right? So we kind of like, there are 3 folks that you introduced us to that we want to see. We've now thrown Made with Local on there, so we don't even know if Sheena and Andrew have time for us. But you know,
Just show up.
there.
That's
Yeah,
what I'm
yeah.
thinking. I'm with Dwayne. Who
Who
cares?
What's going on there? You know?
Every Atlantic Canadian is going to have an extra potato in the pot or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking at the house, though, right? We're here.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. As long as it doesn't turn into like a Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure for you, like there's no White Castle hamburger joints here. So
Even better.
you'll be safe that way. But
Yeah.
no, we're super excited to have you. And, that welcome mat is out for anyone, even, folks listening who are perhaps looking to expand into Atlantic Canada or want to understand how the network operates here. I'm happy to speak to anyone. I mean, we provide a lot of support for our members. But I also have a lot of conversations with folks from outside of the region, and am happy to support any way that I can. I love seeing these small businesses, explore new opportunities and grow. I mean, I'm a fan of the work you guys are doing, and love to listen to your conversations with other folks you've had on. It's always real enjoyable, and you're right, Phil, you mentioned it earlier. I think, we share a lot of values with respect to how this business can operate and how it should operate. Yeah. Right? It comes from a place of passion. So
yeah. No, I love it. We really love watching these guys grow, because they're just, everybody has this, they've got a viewpoint, and then, it's the careful threading of like, how do you show them how to scale, but without crushing their soul in the process. Right. And then, keeping the essence of the brand. Right. So it's tricky, but it's amazing.
Even when it comes to differentiating versus competitors, right? Like we tend to sort of look at things sometimes through a bit of a narrow lens. So when you start to look at other regions, your competition levels might be changing. There could be operators doing something similar to what you're doing. So, you might be different and unique in your market, but when you start to explore other markets, does that still exist? So again, it comes back to what is your story? Why are you doing this? And I always find that that's what carries those successful folks through. So either you're a brand new business trying to launch, or you're a business that's been around for 100 years, it's still, that story of why it started and the passion behind it always resonates with folks.
Yeah, it's a big deal. This is cool, man. I'm excited. I can't.
I'm pretty stoked. I'm really, really looking forward to this one.
Yeah.
Because it's an area that I've never been. The people we've talked to so far have been fabulous. The stereotype of it, the Maritimes, is that it's a friendly group, and it never seems to. I've never had anybody kind of made that think, "Oh, that was bullshit." It's actually true. Everybody is so hospitable and wanting to share or give back. And I think that's, again, another thing, if we're going to put a plug in for you guys, which we do anyway, but it's really that. It's that, you're sort of walking into a family, in the sense that even your competitors or people that have other businesses that may compete directly or indirectly, everybody's got the same problems to some degree. And you'd be surprised how many people are willing to help, because the pie is large enough to support more than just one person in any commodity. So don't be scared to talk to your competitors. You don't have to give trade secrets away, but you'd be amazed at what you learn by sometimes simple questions. Hey, Dwayne, do you have this problem as well? Or you'd be surprised.
But we see that, and those are the most amazing moments, right? Like that's seen
the best thing about these groups.
Where, like, cross country, we were at a conference, and there was someone who runs a business outside of Vancouver, like north, like in between Squamish, I think is where she is, right? So right in between, kind of Whistler, and she met someone out on the East Coast, and we happened to be talking to them, and all of a sudden it was like we were outsiders, because all of a sudden they're two completely non-competing brands, and the one founder rolled up to the other one, "I am so proud of you. You effing crushed that, and that was amazing." And we're just like, okay, we're going to leave you two alone now. You know, but
you have your moment.
Yeah, because they're having their moment, but you kind of go, this is the other thing that these, you know, what you guys are doing is so amazing is, you know, if people listening to this haven't figured that out, is Dwayne's also the connector, right? Is, you know, he knows brands that are one step, two step ahead of you that have felt the pain that you're about to feel, right? Like, and it is lonely, right? Because you kind of go home and you say, hey, I did this thing, and the spouse goes, yay, and you're like, oh, that's unsatisfying. I know they're cheering me on, but they don't know how difficult it was. But you get another founder who's maybe a little bit ahead of you who goes, whoa, that's such a big step. Like, so here's what comes next, and feel better, but take a breath, but, you know, expect this thing to hit you from the other side, right? Like, those are moments that I think you play a valuable part in, that I also don't think people understand at all.
No. Yeah. Well, picture the small town, right? Yeah. That, you know, when that, you know, local celebrity, you know, leaves the town to go join the big, like, the support that comes from that town and that community is massive. And we like to see ourselves as that, you know, we are that, whether it's a cheerleader or psychologist, or, you know, whatever it is that you're needing, we're there to support you throughout that journey. So, you know, not only do we produce the world's greatest hockey players out of Atlantic Canada.
Wow. That was a step.
We like to
wrong.
Hey,
BC's a whole different podcast. A couple good players. Just going to throw it out there.
I'm just going to say it now. This is a whole different podcast.
Let's just relax a little bit here, boys.
I knew I'd get a reaction with that one. Yeah, you know what? We're producing some incredible brands out of this region too.
For the population base you have, my friend, it's pretty freaking amazing.
Right.
It's pretty amazing. 4 provinces, you know, that have a population less than the lower mainland. Mm-hmm. And you guys are cranking out some pretty freaking cool shit, man. That's really making changes in the market.
I saw that when I went to Toronto with Heinz, was that, you know, it gave me that realization of how incredibly, not only, you know, great products and such, but the resiliency and all the things that are needed to succeed in this business, how that exists in Atlantic Canada. And, you know, with a little extra support, you know, those that are ready to make that jump, we can help them do that. So that's, for me, that's what I really enjoy about doing this, is helping those owners find that way. So
love it. Thanks for doing this. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, seriously, man. Thank you.
Hey, likewise. Listen, it's been a lot of fun. I'm glad we got a chance to do this, and super excited about having you guys on the East Coast. And there could be a few stories, maybe some will air and some won't, that come out of that trip.
We'll see. We'll see where it goes. We'll see what the road trip looks like, because apparently you're on it with us. So
yeah, and if you're you've been around Dwayne and you have an old Heinz story you want to share with us, hit us up somewhere, and then we'll do our best to air it or make fun of Dwayne somewhere along the way. We'll
or both.
Yeah,
or both. Yeah. all tomato school stories stay in tomato school. So if anyone's listening who's been through tomato school, none of those stories should come out. That would be
so definitely. If you have a tomato school story, like, come and we'll.
I'll give you my Heinz London drug story over a beer when I see you, Dwayne.
Good Lord.
Awesome.
I actually have a Heinz London drug story.
Of course you do. Of course you do.
Oh,
Safe travels, guys. Can't wait to see you.
I really appreciate it. Thanks for doing this. Keep up the good work. We'll put all the tags. If people want to find you specifically and or the organization, just so it's also verbally said, how? Best way.
So email is Dwayne at atlanticfood.ca. I'm on LinkedIn. Just search my name. Just reach out. I'm happy to speak with anyone and offer some support where I can.
Awesome.
Then website is atlanticfood.ca.
Yes. And you can actually connect to us through there too. So
okay, perfect.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you, sir.
Enjoy
All
the
right.
rest of the day.
Wonderful.
Phil, you hang on.
And then we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Take care, guys.
Thanks, Dwayne. Take care, man.
Thanks so much. Okay.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Very cool.
Awesome.
Very cool. Another reason, if you're listening and you're in Atlantic Canada, call them up, become members. The same thing we tell everybody. If you're in BC, phone BC Food and Bev. If you're in Atlantic Canada, phone Atlantic Food and Bev or Food and Bev Atlantic. But seriously, these organizations are
They're amazing.
phenomenally invaluable.
They do amazing things. Yeah.
You can't do it. I mean, seriously. And don't be scared to join multiple. Like if you're part of CHFA, like, Canadian Health Food,
join multiple. Like they're worth their weight. Like they aren't expensive. And then I get it. Like I get all businesses, like there are a lot of membership fees, but these ones you're going to get stuff out of.
You're going to get money. You're going to get your money back.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
You're going to get your money at bare minimum. You get your money back.
Yeah.
No, I think it's fabulous. Awesome.
Okay. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening, everybody.